So we're here today with Tessa from Chickp, and she works with companies of all sizes to help them improve their accounting processes. Tessa, it's very good to be talking to you today.
Very good to be here. Thank you.
Thank you for coming. We're going to obviously have a chat about a few different finance topics. I think the first question we're going to start with is, how do you shift the mindset of finance professionals from really being bean counters to actually moving towards more strategic use of data and systems to actually help them drive value in an organisation and actually become a strategic partner in a business, rather than just the sort of compliance and standard reporting? How do you see that working?
Yes, I experience this a lot because I work very closely with a lot of finance teams and finance professionals, and there's still quite a lot who are very keen to concentrate on pure profit and pure cost and not understand the longer term benefits, which could be less cost or more profits, but the longer term benefits of projects such as system improvements and data analysis. So I think it's about trying to demonstrate and having testimonials or case studies that really clearly align with what they do but can show them where they can get to in the end. So just making that end goal and end picture much clearer for them. I also work with a lot of private equity owned firms, and the issue I find there is that the finance leaders in the companies themselves are really trying to just report and look at the data that gets reported to investors and the private equity firms, and then there's a real lack of understanding within the business of improvements and what the performance is within the company, which would then obviously eventually drive improvement and value to the investors. So I think it's really about demonstrating and being able to articulate clearly how value can equal profit, but it's just more of a long-term process.
I think this is also what we see in kind of the work we do in finance functions, is there's a lot of kind of historical reporting, so everything's looking at kind of what happened in the previous year, P&L's, balance sheets, rather than actually what we start to change to actually make decisions which will actually increase our financial performance. I think certainly in analytics, that's kind of where things have started to move to. It's interesting to see how that will actually impact finance, because they need to change how they think about it, rather than we are looking after the accounts, more to how can we drive the business forward.
It's really having that forward-looking perspective, using data to be able to make projections forwards rather than just looking historically, I guess. And we've written a blog about this, haven't we? The maturity cycle and then actually using data to be able to predict and effectively and actually also automate processes moving forward. So there's definitely more value that can be.
Yeah, there's definitely a lot of conversation around changing the mindsets of finance professionals, so it is more forward-looking. Even internal reporting, it's all monthly management accounts. It's still the prior month. And there's definitely less discussion around what the future holds and having return on investment that lasts longer than a year, because people want to see that investment get paid back within the year, so the year-end accounts look great, and there's really less longer term visions, I find, with the finance professionals that I work with.
So is that like one of the things which is quite key areas, that there's too much kind of short-term focus and short-termism? I guess that would lead to kind of things like cost-cutting and stuff, rather than actually taking the long-term decisions which will actually benefit the business more, I guess.
Yeah, definitely. And I think it feeds into, although going off topic, things like sustainability and just the lack of willingness to invest or explore ideas that don't give an immediate return. I think it's the same kind of problem.
I think we often find that same issue with data, because you often don't understand the value that's in that data until you've got it and you've got access to it, and you can start drilling in and trying to make sense of it, the ROI can be very difficult to measure on that as well. So, great, and I think we've kind of started to touch on one of our other questions, which is around the future of finance.
Yes.
and how that looks and how that's going to evolve. I see things like AI, automation coming, and I think finance is really sort of rife to kind of modernise and start to adopt those technologies. How do you see that playing out moving forwards?
Yeah, so a lot of what we do is based, as accountants, is based around standards and regulations that really do revolve around a set of rules. And automation is all about if a set of rules can be applied to it, then automation is easier. And that's exactly what accountants spend a lot of time doing. So things like the tax compliance piece and transactional finance processing, such as sales ledger, purchase ledger type roles.
Yeah.
That kind of process can, I think, quite quickly be removed and more value added from tasks that probably we don't get time to get involved with at the moment.
So would it be a case that people that are doing those kind of manual tasks and those processes would actually be able to, rather than obviously their jobs not being needed, there's other tasks that they can start to do which might be more kind of value add rather than cut your workforce by 50%, which is I think kind of what a lot of people say about future finance. But I guess there's probably other pieces around what kind of tasks is it that they can do.
Definitely, and there's this whole piece about finance business partnering. So getting involved and not being siloed just in the finance department, I think, is where it will move to. And I don't think it's a case of getting rid of jobs. I mean, if you look at where we were 50, 60 years ago, technology has advanced and we're all still in jobs. We're just in slightly different roles. I think it's just going to be an evolution of the role rather than you can cut the cost of staff.
Okay. And I guess it really plays into that becoming more strategic, right? If you can take time away from doing mundane, repetitive activities, you can really start to focus on that strategic bit and drive that value, I guess.
100%.